Hey everyone, welcome back to another law school documentaries video. Today I'm coming to you from my aunt's house. I'm puppy sitting for her while she's on her trip with the little ones. Here's a little pupper. That's Lexi right there. In today's video, I will discuss how to go to law school and leave debt-free. But before I get into that, I first want to share a story of a crazy adventure that I did with my friend Juan, who you've met already. So here is the interview that I did with him where we retell that story and how it relates to going to law school as an undocumented student.
What's up, homie?
Hey.
Are you recording right now?
Yeah. What's up?
Alright, so I'm here with my friend Juan Pina. Do you want to tell him a little bit about Inner City?
Inner City Development is a non-profit organization, and it's been here on the west side of San Antonio for 51 years now. They do a lot of good work with the community. They do emergency food for families, sack lunches for the homeless, a lot of programs for kids, summer programs, basketball league, after school reading program. So they've been doing a lot of great work, and I'm just lucky enough to be a part of all the great things that they do.
So the reason I came to meet with Juan here at Inner City was because I wanted to share a story that I think will go hand in hand with how to pay for law school, especially as someone who's undocumented. And I first wanted to start off with this story. I'm not sure how we got this crazy idea of doing a bike ride. Who came up with that?
It was you. You were coming back from Austin to live here. You said, I'm moving back to San Antonio, I'm done in Austin.
Let's do a bike ride from Austin to San Antonio. And it just sounded, I don't know, it sounded fun. Did it sound fun to you?
For some reason, it was doable.
Yeah.
As we got closer to it, you start thinking, okay, we're going from one city to another city.
Yeah, so I believe the distance was like 85 miles between the cities. So to start off, I already had a bike, a single speed bike. And Juan, he didn't even have a bike at the time. He was like, oh yeah, I'm up for this challenge, let's do this. Juan, do you have a bike?
No, but I'll go get one.
But on May 31st, we took off super early in the morning.
We woke up at 3.
It was 3 a.m. and I think we didn't leave until 4. Yeah, so we took off around 4 a.m. and maybe we even checked the weather because I believe, if I remember correctly, we might have some rain in Kyle, Buda. But we started off and it was really nice at the beginning, you know? We were going through the city, downtown Austin, and then we started going through South Congress. You will notice that it's at a small incline. That's where the hills really started to, okay, there's gonna be some hills along the way. One of the last hills that I remember in Austin, it's right before South Congress ends. That hill, I believe, like going up to it, I had told you, all right, dude, because it was downhill first and then in the big uphill. Like, go fast, like try to get as much momentum.
As much as you can.
I think that was like first real challenge of the ride for me. Was it for you?
Yes, because I don't think we had trained hills as much.
Yeah, so we got past Austin, and we were kind of out in the country.
Like the back road, countryside.
And that was Kyle, somewhere Kyle, Buda. We got past that. The roads were no longer like the nicely paved roads that you find in cities. They were like country roads, still paved, but
not as smooth.
Yeah, definitely not as smooth. Yeah, this is where we had less stimulation around us because we're out in the country.
Yeah.
It's just farmlands to the right, to the left.
Which is a nice view, but it was so early that we didn't get to appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely started to get taxing, like just seeing the same thing. And you start to think, I have to continue this motion of pedaling and looking forward for another God knows how many hours.
We start arriving to San Marcos when the sun has started to get up.
Started to come up.
That was probably like one of the first pit stops that we took, right?
I think that was okay, let's stop and gather ourselves again to keep going.
So we're arriving to San Marcos. The sun is beginning to rise. We take a break there, and so we go through San Marcos. Really nice to go over the bridges where we see the river. Go through the university, Texas State University, which I hadn't seen before.
Me either.
We go through San Marcos, and pretty quickly it goes from city to like rural.
Yeah. I remember, I think that was the point where we had to, a lot of the ride was you in front and me following.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we are getting into New Braunfels. We go through Green. We had a little photo shoot there. And honestly, my mouth was watering thinking of the kolaches. I had never been to Nagellen's Bakery before.
And I've never had a kolache in my life.
There you go. So we arrived to Nagellen's. So we hadn't really had any like food, and we stopped at Nagellen's and get some kolaches, which they were good.
They were worth it.
Yeah. It was tough getting back on the road. And I want to say that the leg from New Braunfels to the beginning of the San Antonio city limits, for me, that was the most challenging. I don't know if it was for you.
Mentally,
yeah.
Yes.
I think the roads were also not as great as they were in previous areas between cities. Granted, there wasn't much traffic, but there was just a lot more dirt in the air, and I think it was because of those like cement factories. So that was tough. That's where I was like, all right, like, we're so close. Let's just finish it. Like, we're there. The faster you pedal, the faster you're gonna get back home. So yeah, that was tough. We start getting into San Antonio, and we start to see roads that were familiar to us. Like, we know the names of the roads or like places, and I think that was just refreshing. Okay, we're like really. So yeah, we're starting to get into San Antonio, and now it's maybe like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m. And we're starting to see more traffic, and we're in a city. So I think at this point, we were definitely on the road when there was a lot of cars. For a good chunk of that last leg into San Antonio, we were on, I believe it was Nacogdoches
Road.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big road. So we were sharing it with a lot of traffic.
And the street lights, having to stop.
Oh, that's right.
Stop, start.
And then after a while, we get into like the Alamo Heights area, and that's where like, okay, this is like the last 100 meters of the race. We're there.
We're there.
Going down Broadway past UIW, your alma mater, and then we just arrived to. I think we made our finish line at the Pearl. But yeah, it took us how many hours? It was like.
Well, the whole trip itself was what?
Like 7 hours?
7 or 8 hours?
7 or 8 hours, yeah. I hadn't really thought about this ride until recently when I was thinking of ideas for this YouTube channel and this series, law school documentaries, where I wanted to talk about funding my education in law school. And for most people, they do take the Highway 35, straight shot. You get some scholarships, you apply for a loan, and you're set. Your school is paid for. But for someone like me who's undocumented, and for I'm sure many others who are out there, we kind of have to take the back roads.
Finish the race, the ride.
We keep saying race. It was just a ride.
It was just a ride.
It was just a crazy idea, and I got a chance to do it with my best friend, and who is crazy enough to do stuff with me.
I think that's, you were crazy enough to say, I want to do this, and I was crazy enough to say, all right, let's do it. And I think we started getting into this idea of, all right, what's the next crazy thing that not everybody's going to want to do. And I feel like that's very fitting for your journey now. There's a lot of stuff that could hold you back from saying, you know what, law school just it's not a possibility. But you're crazy enough to say, yeah,
Let's do it.
Let's do it anyway.
It's a big hill to climb, but why not? Let's do it. We can check it off the list.
Off the list. On to the next crazy
challenge.
adventure.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
TBD.
We'll keep you posted.
So what you just heard was one of the many crazy adventures that my friend Juan and I have gone on. The reason I wanted to share this story was because I think it's like a metaphor for the kind of journey that undocumented students have to take in order to get to college, grad school, and get their education paid for. Much like the bike ride from Austin to San Antonio, my journey to law school was uphill. It was rocky at times, and there was a lot of obstacles along the way. With that said, in this video, I want to focus on 3 important things that I focused on as I was figuring out how to fund my law school education. So if you're watching this video, you probably have an idea that law school is a huge investment. Most students have to get out a loan in order to pay their education and cross their fingers in hope that their career is able to pay off their debt. Luckily, being undocumented doesn't really leave you the option of going in debt. That's if you do it the right way. And what I mean by that is that undocumented students do not qualify for federal loans. If you hear snoring in the background, that's just Ranger, the English bulldog that I'm puppy sitting. So undocumented students do not qualify for federal loans, so it really is up to you to figure out a way to make law school or a graduate program happen for you. So if you're afraid of a little hard work, maybe this isn't the video for you. Because if you want a debt-free law school, it's going to require a lot of hard work. But if you do it right, you'll be able to cross the stage debt-free with no financial stress. So here are the 3 things you should focus on if you want 0 debt. First, a killer LSAT and great GPA will go a long way. If you're currently an undergrad and you are considering law school, make sure you try your best and try to get the best grades you can. And when the dreaded LSAT comes around, make sure you take a study course if you are able to. If not, you really have to be disciplined about doing a self-study program. But a combination of an LSAT and GPA will go a long way in helping you get the most scholarships from schools. Number 2, begin your search for scholarships early. Undocumented students face the additional challenge of trying to find those rare scholarships that are applicable to them, especially when it comes to graduate school, law school, or medical school. There are fewer scholarships available for students who are pursuing those higher graduate level degrees. It's like those counselor posters that you see in their offices. If you don't shoot, then you can't score. So apply for those scholarships anyway. And number 3, get creative. Think of fundraising ideas that you can do in your community and in partnership with local businesses. If you're already taking the steps to go to law school and talking to people about those interests, people will want to support you. People want to see you succeed. Don't be afraid to ask. Make a GoFundMe, do a plate sell, partner up with a business to do a profit share. The ideas are endless and it's really up to you. Obviously, a full ride scholarship would be ideal, but that requires a really good LSAT and GPA. So if you are still in school, try to get the best grades possible. Take the LSAT, take a prep course to try and shoot for a higher score. Plus, those 2 will be considered heavily in admissions. Once you already have a GPA, if you can improve your LSAT, go for that. Complement the remaining costs of law school by focusing on applying for private outside scholarships, as I mentioned before, and doing some fundraising. If you do so, you can leave law school debt-free or any other graduate program. But like I said, it's going to require a lot of hard work. Easier said than done. So get working. If you're considering law school and have any questions, write them down below on the comment section and I'll try to get to them and answer them. Let me know what your law school journey looks like. Was it a crazy bike ride like mine? I'll see you till next time. Hey Ranger, you were interrupting my video earlier with your loud snores.